Many of the people out here are betting and gambling with the hopes that you are a ignorant dumbass that doesn't know how to see through the BS that they're putting out to the world. Now in the Bible it says that we are to be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. And it also says in 1 Peter 2:9 that ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, and holy nation, a peculiar people, that ye should show forth the praises of him who hath called you out of the darkness into the marvelous light. A peculiar people. Remember that. We are a peculiar people. This is what it means to be set apart, and you're going to have a lot of snakes along the way that are going to try to knock you off your center. These people are going to, if you're a man, you might have emotionally manipulative women or women that are sexually alluring to the degree that they try to convince you that they care for you and they want love and affection and all that stuff, but what they really want is power. They want control. And then you have on the flip side for females that may be watching this, you have males that manipulate you mainly for pleasure. They don't really care to provide or protect for you. They want the pleasure. That's all they want. And it's so amazing to see how people believe that they have options. Like, I've mentioned this in a video not too long ago where even though there's like a horde of women that I have available to me, I don't really see them as options. And it's not necessarily the fact that I'm not attracted to them, because of course, like, I'm physically attracted to them, but it's almost like, to what degree is something in someone could be considered a true option when they do not display long-term relationship material? And the same thing goes for these women out here. A lot of women have a lot of different quote-unquote sexual options, but they don't have good quality long-term relationship options. And women really misunderstand that just because they can get attention from men doesn't mean that they can keep the men. And they think that because they can have like all of these different kinds of men after them, that makes them something in regards to like valuable. It's like, look, you can be a shiny object to a lot of different things and a lot of different people, but are you worth keeping around? And a lot of the times it's just not the case. Most of the men and women out here today are just so concerned with the next thing that can satisfy their short-term pleasure that they have misconstrued the idea, and they've actually inherited this idea that lies are the language of the modern world. And they believe that lies are going to get them the things that they want. And of course, if you're going to be involved with people in any kind of way, shape, or form, there's going to be a little bit of tug of war, right? And it's not necessarily because you're trying to gain power over the other people. It's more so that you're trying to see who's actually worthy of trust, who's actually worthy of seeing their actions fulfilled. A lot of the times, men and women alike will say that they're going to do something, they're going to say they're going to do that, and meanwhile, where do the actions line up with the words? Where do the actions line up with the words? Very rarely, as far as I can tell, very rarely. And so it's almost like you have to have a join or go somewhere else mentality. And in fact, that is the mentality that I've come to adopt myself. I guess not necessarily adopt, but it's just that I I genuinely do not want to concern myself with people that are going to continue to play games in which makes me have to sacrifice any kind of mental stability or financial stability or spiritual wealth or health. And you can't really do that with a lot of people nowadays with that. Like, you can't interact with a lot of people without sacrificing some of that to some degree. And the reason being is because people cannot create their own energy. They cannot create that which they can't create the source of their energy within. They don't have a relationship to the Most High. And so that's why they're going to have to try to use you for that energy. And believe me, I've seen from men and women alike all different kinds of ways that people will try to manipulate you. And so now that you've built yourself into the person that will not tolerate being manipulated, all of a sudden, people will either do one of two things. They'll either run away, or they'll try to stay and try to make up for their mistakes. But do you want to, like, they still made a mistake, and it was a pretty costly one, and this is a person that maybe you do not necessarily have to have in your life. And so it's like, well, you have to ask yourself and have the discernment enough to say, like, and make the judgment, well, is this person going to continue to make this mistake, or can I genuinely forgive this person and accept them back into my life? Because a lot of the times when you do forgiveness, it's not always for the other person. It's for you. Because if you don't learn how to forgive, number one, yourself, but number two, others, it's going to be very challenging for you to maneuver in the world in which you can act in a way that is morally correct. And these snakes out here will try to rob your moral character. They will try to steal your identity. And that's the essence of narcissism. Like, I remember when I was really waking up to one of my friends being a narcissist. And this was when I was about 23 years old, and maybe 22, 23. And I remember just realizing after a year and a half into our friendship, it was like he was completely imitating me. And he wanted me to imitate him. But it was in a way that he wanted to make sure that he was the more powerful one in our friendship. And I realized, holy shit, this guy's competing with me. He's not wanting to grow. He's fucking competing with me. And that was a really big wake-up call, because I understand, like, you know, I'm all about competition to the healthy degree. But when you have a competitive spirit, like, locked inside you, and you don't know how to place that spirit appropriately where it actually matters, you shouldn't have to be in a competition with your friends. You shouldn't have to be in a competition with people that you care about. You should want to see other people succeed just as much as you, like, they would want you to see as much as you, how do I say this? As much as they would want to see you succeed. That's what I'm trying to say. It should be going both ways. It should be going a vice versa kind of a thing. If one of my people that I'm, like, having my inner circle starts to do really well, it's not going to be incumbent upon me to, like, cut off ties or to try to, like, make this person feel lesser than because I have my own accomplishments or whatever. I'm not going to bring up my own achievements or my own accomplishments just to try to puff out my chest a little bit to, like, steal the shine. It's not, like, why would you do that? What is the point? And these same kinds of people, if you let them go, which this is actually what happened, because I noticed that even my mannerisms with this guy, like even just my behavior in general, the way I just walked around, or like he would just like mock me as I'm going, or he would constantly ask me towards the end of the relationship and friendship. um it was like, and when I say relationship, that was like I mean a friendship, but I don't really believe in friendship, to be honest. I don't think friendship really exists anymore. I think it could have existed, but I think most of the time, friendship nowadays, it's it's not really real. Like people only want, a lot of the time, they it's transactional. And I've adjusted and I've adapted to that. And I still wish the best for everybody on the planet. I don't have any ill will towards anyone, really. I don't like some people, but I don't like wish them to be ill in their mind, body, or soul. But I do know that some of these people are ill in their mind, body, and soul. But anyway, it was toward the end of this relationship with this guy that I started to just notice these things. And when I called him out on it, he just completely gaslit me and said, "Whoa, well, I'm not doing that." I was like, "Dude, you literally, you literally just said X, Y, Z." "Oh, no, I didn't." It's like, what? Like, what are you talking about? And he would just stonewall me after that. He would just completely ignore me. And I would just be like, what the just happened? Like, what was that? And it was so crazy at one point for like a week. For like a week, I remember after having those conversations, I would actually have to write down in my journal, like, okay, I said this, he said this, I said this, he said this, just so that I made sure that I had the story right. Because he was so good at trying to convince me that I was not, like, I was saying something completely different than what I was. And at the time, I didn't have my frame. And I didn't think that, like, this guy was capable of doing this kind of stuff. That was my mistake. Every fucking person on the planet is capable of good, and they're capable of evil. That is the mistake that I did. I did not think that was truly the case. I didn't think that this person really had any ill will towards me, but that was the case. So anyway, I continued, and then I cut him off. And about a year later, he reached out, and maybe a year and a half, 2 years later, and he reached out and wanted to go hang out and get some lunch or something, and just see how life is going. And I just said no thank you. That's all I said was no thank you, and I didn't respond after that. And he texted me a couple more times, but I just didn't respond. And even, like, I should have just even said no, thinking back on it. Like, I could have just, I maybe not should have. I could have just said no. I could have just said no. But that's exactly what's going on with most people in the world. They want to come back into your life when they see that, or they want to flaunt their success or whatever, quote unquote success. And what's so funny is you're someone that probably doesn't even have, like, you don't have to have a lot to be content and, like, at peace with yourself. You don't need a lot. But for some reason, that pisses these people off. And why does it piss people off? Because they have a void in their soul. They have a void in their belly that can only be filled by jumping from this person to this person to this person, getting attention here, getting attention there. I literally saw today, I literally saw this woman was talking to her friends at the gym about the guy that she's with and how they're going through something or whatever, but it's going to be okay, blah 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 blah. Literally like 5 minutes later, she's talking to another guy at the gym, and I mean, they were talking for like 20, 30 minutes, like just in the middle of the gym. Like, it was just, for me, I would consider any conversation like that when a woman is already in a relationship and she doesn't have to have that conversation professionally. Like if she's at her job, right? If a woman's at her job, like let's hypothetically get a little bit more into this scenario. If my girlfriend was at a job and she happened to like work with a lot of different kinds of people and she was always talking to people, like maybe she was a salesperson or whatever, I could understand that professionally. I could understand that. I don't really like that. I wouldn't really want her to do something like that. In fact, I don't want my girlfriend to have to work if she doesn't want to. That's not my goal is to be able for her to eventually just be home with the kids that we're going to have someday. But if she does have a job and that's like she's professionally talking with these people, I understand. But if you're going to sit there at the gym and have a full-on conversation with some guy while you're in a relationship with me, when you don't even have to have this conversation, what does that tell you? Number one, it's not always a reflection of the man. And number two, it's not always a reflection of the woman when that kind of stuff happens. But whatever's going on in that scenario indicates that the relationship itself is not working out. If a woman can literally not handle not having the attention, but and she has to talk to multiple men, and you're the person that like she can't get satisfied with that. Well, number one, that could be an indicator of promiscuity, and it could be an indicator of attention-seeking behavior. And yeah, this is snake-like behavior as far as I'm concerned. But then you have, on the flip side, well, if she's in the committed relationship, like what has the guy been doing? Like, what has the guy been up to? Has he been talking to other girls? Has he been doing this? Has he been doing that? What has he been doing? And is she just trying to get back at him? Either way, that's not a good relationship. Either way, that relationship as a whole is just not working out. Time to go someplace else, someplace different, etc. But I'm keeping the faith. I have faith that things will get better. However, I know that things will get worse before they get better in our society with all the liars, manipulators, and the wicked ones around us. It's just like you just can't really trust people anymore. Like I mean, I guess you never really could, but I'm just going to the point and growing to the point to where most human beings, apart from those that are like the people that are really on the path, the people that are really dedicated, and they're really trying to make their life something better for themselves. Apart from those people, it's like, forget it. Like, just forget it. Like, who cares what they have to say? Who cares what they have to think? Who gives a flying F, man? Because these people out here, why would you want to take the opinions or the thoughts or the words of people that are not on the path of following Christ or following God. Why would you want to listen to anybody like that? Like, if the people that you're listening to are not interested in some kind of higher form of being, then why in the world would you want to listen to these people? What could possibly they have to say? So treat yourself like you're something. If you're watching this video and you've made it this far, treat yourself like you're something. Because you are. If you've gotten this far in the video, you've probably resonated with a lot of the things that I've said in this video. And that means that you're someone that treats themselves with some kind of self-respect enough to understand that there are a lot of people out here in the world that will try to steal everything about you just so that they can feel like they've got the light. And that's just, it's pathetic. I don't like that word, but it's just pathetic. And I don't want to say that they're pathetic, but it's more like their behavior is pathetic. I don't like to degrade people like that, but I also want to say that this is a time where we have to realize that we either are with each other or we're not. And especially as men, we have to value our time. We have to value our attention. And wherever you're placing your eyes is where you're beginning to place some kind of form of worth. So be careful with your eyes and keep your eyes on God. And with that being said, I hope this message was useful and insightful. And until next time, peace be with you.